another friend of the show.
Yeah.
Gave us a really cool nickname, which I'll let her introduce it when we bring her up.
I love it.
George, I have said in the past that I love football, and I've lied to my audience because I don't. I love NFL football. Our guest right now fucking loves football, bro. Because it's NFL, it's college, it's maybe CFL, XFL.
Yep.
Any FL she's covering. One of my favorite people in the football space. Creeping up to one of my favorite people in general. Arabia
in the building.
Wow. What an introduction. Thank you so much. So happy to be here with the amazing whites.
Yes.
The amazing whites in black.
Bro, let's go.
I'm an amazing black and white. So
yes.
we this is special.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
A division that Arabia knows really, really well.
Absolutely.
The NFC East, a division that I know really, really well as well. Both of our favorite teams are in here. Arabia, I'm going to just start off with this. My team might be back. That's all I'm just saying. Jackson Dart just threw another touchdown in the preseason. I don't know how to act. It's been bad. The last time you came on the show, you cut like a 90-second wrestling promo on me. That was then. This is now. Do you think the Giants might be back?
Unfortunately, you won't have any pushback with me with the Giants might be back. But them being back really starts with their defense.
Yeah.
I am extremely excited to see that defense with Sexy Dexy. Yep. That line there, I think is really, really special. The secondary is what it is, but the Giants very much may be back. Now, last year they went 0-6. They got swept by the entire division. The only other team in the NFL to get swept by the entire division was the Raiders. But at least the Raiders won 3 conference games. The Giants only won 1 conference game against the Seahawks. But I think this year will be different. I don't see that happening again. The Giants very much may be back.
Well, since this is, I'm not going to disagree with the lovely lady. You know what I'm saying? Anytime someone hypes
you got to
up the
roll
Giants,
with it, man.
I got to go with it. And usually we start with the favorite in the division, but it is our show. And I'm going to start with my team first. The New York Giants, 5.5 win total, 25-1 to win the division, 80-1 to win the NFC, 200-1 to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not someone in Arabia that's like, yo, they're going to win the Super Bowl. They're going to do this. No, this is the most optimistic I have been definitely since you've known me.
Yep.
Because even when they made the playoffs a couple of years ago, I was like, this is a joke. This is going to set the franchise back, which it did, because then they paid Daniel Jones, and they lose Barkley, and yada, yada. We know about that, right? Record in one-score games last year, 1-8. Right? There's going to be regression to that.
Yep.
Okay? It's a way better quarterback room than they had last year. They get Andrew Thomas back at the O-line. Not a lot of people watch the Giants because why would you? They won 4 wins, right? They're not the best team. They're not the most exciting, but the offensive line wasn't playing bad when he was in there. When he got hurt, that's when it started being a little funky. To her point, the defensive line. I was telling you this when they drafted Abdul Carter. Arabia, they're going to be in games this year they have no business being in because of that defensive line. Lawrence, Carter, Burns, Thibodeau on a contract year. Oh, do I love it. I love guys on contract years, especially when they're young. You know he's getting like 14 sacks. Then he's going to want $35 million, and you're going to be like, oh, you got to go, bro. You got to go. Listen, we would love to, but you got to go, right? So I really think that defensive line is going to be the key to this team. Going back to the glory days of the Giants when they had good defensive lines that kind of covered up the shit in the secondary. To Arabia's point, it's like, who is in the? I couldn't tell you who's in the secondary. I like Phillips. in the secondary. He's a baller, but again, it's like nowhere near Pro Bowl caliber player
for sure.
My one big concern is, boy, does that schedule suck for a 4th place schedule. Usually you're like, yo, this could be it. But no, the Giants open up against the Commanders on the road. They play Dallas on the road. Chiefs at home. Chargers at home. At Saints. Okay.
That was going to be our toilet bowl game.
Yeah. Then home to the Eagles, which they haven't beat the Eagles since I was in high school in a game that mattered. Honestly, I'm not kidding. I think the last time they beat them, I was in high school in a game that mattered for both teams. And then they play at Denver, at Philly. You're like, what the fuck? Right? So the schedule sucks. I know I've been long-winded because it is my team. I'm cautiously optimistic. George, how do you feel about the New York Football Giants?
I think they're going to be one of the most exciting teams to watch in football, just from the fact that there's going to be somebody on the field at all times that you are going to see in the headlines the next day. Like Malik Neighbors is that dude as far as it comes to quarterback. Jameis Winston on the sideline holding a clipboard, still entertaining. Does Jackson Dart come in? You know Jackson Dart's going to come in because of how tough the schedule is. Now, my question to you, because he popped off a little bit last year, is Tyrone Tracy legit? Is this a RB1 that is competent? There was moments in time last year where he popped off. But I don't know if that's just every dog has its days. Is he a legitimate threat and somebody we should watch out for?
Do you want him to be Saquon Barkley? No. But can he be a running back that you could give the ball 200, 250 times and be competent? Yeah, I think so, with Scatterbo in the backfield.
Another thing.
Right?
There's so many names on this team. Public perception, just based on names alone, you guys went from worst to first. Even though you guys will come nowhere near first, public perception-wise, you guys should be better.
So I'm glad that Arabia is on the show with us for this one, because to me, right, I don't want to start Russell Wilson. We know what he is. The buzz around Jackson Dart, he's literally dominating the preseason. No one's had a better preseason than him. And then when you factor in some of the other quarterbacks in this class, people are like, yo, if they did it's way too early for that. But
right.
Arabia experienced this 12 months ago with Jaden Daniels. They're saying the same things. The team is saying the same things about Jaden that they're saying about Jackson Dart now. And Arabia, my question to you is, do you think they should just go with Dart as someone that's not involved with the team? Obviously I want them to go with him because I'm let me just see what the kid got. But if you had the option of the two, why are you starting Russ?
Yeah, I would definitely go with Jackson Dart because you're not playing for some Super Bowl window right now. So you have the benefit of being able to see what your rookie has. You can develop him a little faster in game than behind a veteran. You know what your veteran is. We've seen him in several different situations. I will go with Dart before I would go with Russell Wilson because, like you said, we know who he is and we can develop Dart faster and see him better in game day situations than having him sit behind someone who we already know how he gets down. Yeah.
Exactly, bro. I just feel that way. Have him go in there. You know what you're going to get with Russ. It's a 1-year deal anyway. And if he's clearly outplaying him.
Yeah.
The players are talking him up also. And why not? And if you're Daboll and showing,
bro, Daboll goes with whoever gives him the best looking press at the end of the day. I mean, he'll buy into the DeVito thing. When Danny Dimes popped off, he was wearing the chains and shit. He definitely rides the hot hand. He loves the New York media.
Yeah.
I think he might be a little too in love with it but it bodes to playing Dart first.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this: if they start Russell Wilson, they're a 7-win team. If they start Dart, they're an 8-win team. But
yeah, and I definitely no, go ahead.
No, but to that point, right? I know people might be like, yo, it's a 1-game difference. Yeah, but one is a 13-year vet with no plan for the future, and the other one is the rookie you took in the first round. And I'm much rather with that. Like Arabia said, we're nowhere near a Super Bowl. So let's build with him. I think they've crushed last year and this year's draft based on what we've heard and seen so far. So yeah, why not? Why go with Russ? I think it'd be crazy. But what were you going to say, Arabia? Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I think that's a really great point. I was just going to say 2 things. Number one, we talk a lot about the D-line and those guys up front, but that second level of defense also is worth at least mentioning with Bobby Okereke, who's leading that linebacker room. McFadden, I think, is better against the run than he is in coverage. And so, that they're also worth mentioning that there are several levels of the Giants defense that could perform at least good, but I think that defensive line will be special. And then also, speaking of the Giants schedule, they have the #1 toughest home schedule in the NFL. If you look at the start of just their home schedule, they have the Chiefs, they have the Chargers, the Eagles, the 49ers, the Packers. All 5 are projected to win at least 9 games. And if you layer that, taking into account the Giants have bottom 10 home field advantage when you look at refs, penalties, and performance. So the Giants' home field advantage isn't much of a home field advantage that it could be for other teams, again, when it comes to refs, penalties, and performance. So that home schedule is especially terrible, the worst in the NFL.
Yeah, we were talking about that with a previous guest about how the better in me, this would be a team I would bet on to win the division if it wasn't for this schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Like 4th place team, the unknown of a rookie quarterback coming in. You have a strength in the D-line somewhere where it matters.
Right.
They would check the boxes. But you also have a defending Super Bowl champion in there. You have the Commanders, which was last year's darling team, and then you got Dallas with all their guys coming back.
Yeah.
So between the schedule and them still probably being the 4th best team in the division, it's really the schedule, truthfully, because like 1-8 and 1-score games too. It's like,
we're going to definitely get at least 3 of them.
Yeah, it just always happens year over year. I've been talking about this forever. So, to me, I got the Giants.
I think that was Austin Rivers, by the way.
7-10. Yeah, it might have been. There's always crazy people walking by. 7-10. Russ led. 8-9 if Dart is in. That's how I got the Giants. But I think the main event here is Arabia's Commanders. So I'm going to lead it off for you. Arabia, 9.5 win total, plus 250 to win the division, 12-1 to win the Super Bowl, 12-1 to win the NFC, 20-1 to win the Super Bowl. How do you feel about your Commanders?
I think this year will be a course correction. I think people forget because of the overachievement last year that we are still very much in a rebuild. So I think this year they will course correct. We may not even win the playoffs. And I think people will freak out. I think fans will freak out. I think the media will freak out. I think they will say all kinds of things. But ultimately, they have to understand that they're staying the course and trust in Adam Peters and the Josh Harris group. I think one very impressive thing that I saw last year with this offense, yes, they were the best with 4th down conversions. They attempted it 23 times, were successful 20 times. But the most impressive thing was that none of those were quarterback sneaks. And quarterback sneaks are the most efficient conversion concept for 4th and short. Now, sometimes it's because it wasn't always 4th and short. Sometimes it was 4th and 4, 4th and 5. But that's extremely impressive. Not just that they did it, but how they did it. So I think they're just going to build on that. Again, #1 easiest schedule. They played 12 teams that did not make the playoffs. They were 11-1 with those teams. So I will say at least they did what they had to do against those easier teams. But this year they had the #2 biggest increase in schedule difficulty of any team in the NFL. And I think it'll kind of knock us in the face back and kind of knock us on our butt and be like, okay, here's a reality check. You guys are good, but I think that Packers game, particularly in the beginning of the season, will tell us how good we really are.
Short week, Thursday night football. Oh, bro, in Green Bay. Whew.
This is why, truthfully, bro,
tough
and I've told you this off the record when we're not filming. This is why she's really good. Because like a lot of people that when they root for their team, they just have these goggles for them.
Yep.
And the fact that she said like, it might course correct. Because I think they will, right? 8-4 in 1-score games, to her point. Now they're playing a 2nd place schedule. There's tape now on Daniels. I think, ready for this, most valuable quarterback against the spread in the NFL. So like
his big play, late game ability.
Play, late, composure, looks the part, looks like a 9-year veteran, the way he was carrying himself, and how he elevates everyone around him. Now, one of my other big handicaps is, are you ready for the quarterbacks they beat last year?
Oh. Uh-oh. Arabia.
She knows. Yeah, she brought it up, right? They beat Dalton, Daniel Jones, Caleb Williams. Cooper Rush, they lost to him. Hayner, Will Levis, Rattler, Trey Lance, Joe Burrow, Deshaun Watson, and Kenny Pickett, right? Like, and they went 8-4 in one-score games. Best fourth down conversion. Remember what happened with Staley and the Chargers that first year? Dude, 4th and 15 were going, and they get them.
Yeah.
They were like 80-something%. The next year, they couldn't pick up a 4th and inches. They couldn't convert it.
Yeah.
So there's always regression to that. And the other thing is I like the approach of getting Debo for a young quarterback. I just don't like Debo.
Yeah.
Now, I think he's banged up because it's dope when you have a player like Debo Samuel Arabia and you're giving him handoffs and he's getting all this. But it's like, yo, that wear and tear, it might have caught up to him. And then now they get Laramie Tunsil. The Texans like didn't even debate keeping him, and I'm always a little hesitant when a team is like, "Yeah, I could have him. It's cool. We're not tripping if we lose him." I think there's going to be regression. I think they're a 7-win team for me for those reasons, and I still think they could be. It's going to sound crazy, but they could play better than last year and go 7-10.
Agreed. Yeah, where it seems like just a more put together, not like it was like a media wave that they rode last year, and the fashions that they were beating team at all, starting off that the Hail Mary, right? I need to ask you this, Arabia. How do you feel about this Terry McLaurin situation? Because I feel like with a new organization, the fact that this is happening when it's like, you guys, this is a fresh slate. This is a new Commanders team. There should be no issues. If you guys don't figure it out, I feel like you will end up being the new Bengals of just not being able just to give your guys that deserve it the most. Because Terry McLaurin is everything to that Commanders team and that Commanders offense. So how do you feel about that situation?
I disagree with Terry McLaurin being everything to this offense. I think at this point, by nature of talent and position, of course, Jaden Daniels is the force multiplier. He was giving my dad 800 pass receiving yards and a couple touchdowns. You know what I mean? So I think he can throw to the milkman, throw to this guy, and still make something work as far as the pass game. Mm-hmm. I think my fan base gets caught up in what he has done for the organization instead of projecting forward to what he will do. That's not to say that he doesn't have anything left in the tank. There's no reason to think that. But I think for me, I don't have attachment issues with Terry. I'm okay with letting him go if we don't come to an agreement. I don't want to, but I think Terry mostly wants guaranteed money. I think that's his issue. I don't think it's just the number. He wants 30, he wants 35, he wants 28. I think he wants his guaranteed money for this last year, if it's, for an extension, just in case he gets hurt or whatever else happens. But I'm okay with letting him go.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that, because it's like he's done his part. Like this, he served his purpose. I just think that, you guys are building a new legacy. Like I said, I really feel like this Commanders team, when I explain it in 20 years from now to my kids, it's like they turned the leaf here. Like that, they made bad decisions as the Redskins, and then they became the Commanders, and they were giving Terry McLaurin the big contract. They were not afraid to like keep that legacy, and that's the way I view it as an outsider. Also, just because it's like, man, he stuck it out with the Kirk Cousins days. Like, you got to give this guy his flowers, and I know it's a lot, but I think he produces well for the offense. Another question, though, I had to ask you about, because nobody's brought him up yet at this point, and it gives me like Joe Mixon with the Houston Texan vibes, but Austin Eckler is a legitimate factor and big piece of that offense. He performed extremely well towards the end of last season, and in the playoffs being the dump-off valve and getting some big-time carries. Like, I felt like Eckler was a bigger piece than what the stat sheet or the fans may feel. How do you feel about him?
I love Austin Eckler. In that running back room, he was my personal favorite back. I also really like Chris Rodriguez. To be very honest, my least favorite running back was Brian Robinson Jr. He has a size advantage, but he's statistically mid, but with the eye test, he has horrible vision. He's not like your average. He's not like a good one cut running back. I love Austin Eckler for sure.
Okay. Yeah. No, I wanted to get the feelers out because, I mean, I don't know if it was just me just hyping him up for his years at the Chargers, but like last year, I think he was definitely in my anytime touchdown parlay a couple of times, a couple of times down the stretch, just because I was like, hey man, he scored a shit ton of them with the Chargers. But I have this team finishing 8-9, below 500 this year, for all the schedule reasons. And I think they're just old. Like, I think when you look at their defense with Wagner, you see that they got my boy from the Saints at
Lattimore
and
Will Harris and Von Miller. I just feel like it's the wrong side of their prime. And you could kind of say the same thing about those offensive weapons too now after I heard what she had to say about Terry McLaurin. So 8-9 for me.
I mean, to her point also, like Zach Ertz became a competent tight end again. Where the hell was he for 5 years? And then
we all knew Julie.
Yeah,
Zach
Julie
went away.
Ertz, yeah, she became the main attention with the women's national team.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to be interesting because, like, you know, if all goes well for them, they could be like the Texans last year, where like the Texans, the hype. I just think that the hype is scaring me also, and everything that we've mentioned is a reason to just be a little bit concerned. You know, the team. I want to end with the Eagles. So, Dallas Cowboys. 8.5 win total, 6-1 to win the division, 25-1 to win the NFC, Super Bowl 50-1. If I'm a Cowboys fan, I think I'm the most excited for Dak and the passing offense in a very, very long time. Because, like, yo, Pickens in this role is an 1,100-yard receiver.
Agreed.
He's not a number one because he showed it in Pittsburgh. But, like, Pittsburgh was so trash weaponry. We were like, bro, Pickens isn't playing. And you're like, really? That matters that much? And then you see, you're like, oh, shit, it really does matter for Pittsburgh. Now he's going to be a number 2 wide receiver with Ferguson at tight end. And then you're going to have, obviously, CeeDee Lamb's the top 5 wide receiver. So I think the attention is going to open up a lot of things for both of those guys. Because now CeeDee also has a guy that you got to respect. I think it's the weirdest coaching hire any team made with Schottenheimer. They have no running back, right? It's like Javonte Williams from Denver. Like, we've seen him for 4 years in Denver. Like, he ain't, might as well keep Zeke at that point, right?
Facts.
Injuries killed them last year, and the first 8 games are not really crazy this year unless you're higher on those teams. Not for nothing, Dak is a punching bag, Arabia, but he's 76-46 as a starter. And when he's healthy and he plays, they win. September through Christmas, it's everything after that we're worried. I kind of feel like if Dak plays, they're a 10-win team. But I just don't know what Dak looks like, Arabia, in 2025. How do you feel about Dallas?
Are you asking Arabia or all 32? Because you could get potentially 2 different answers. Like, Arabia thinks the Cowboys don't deserve anything nice and loves Marty's son as a head coach hire because, keep doing it. Like, keep Jerry, hire Marty's son, all that, like, terrible. But all 32 says Dak is actually a respectable quarterback, and he is a punching bag in the media because, you know, the Cowboys tend to be a punching bag. They have this main character syndrome. The Chiefs, the Cowboys, and the Commanders are tied for 8 standalone games this season, the most in the NFL, the most in Commanders franchise history. So there's a part of me that hates that automatically people just give Dak crap, but he performs well. He performed really well the year before, protected the ball and everything. But ultimately, I don't see them doing anything because they have to prove it in the offseason. And like you said, after Christmas, they're pretty much done. So I actually have the Commanders and the Cowboys kind of fighting for 2 and actually, I think after the Eagles, and we'll get there soon, I think the Giants will be better than people are projecting, and that it might be a battle between those 3 teams for how they layer in the division. But I think it'll be pretty close between the Cowboys and the Commanders, who's going to get on top of the other in polls.
Yeah.
He's giving the Jersey Shore fist bump over
Yeah,
here.
baby. We're back.
Oh,
bro.
dude.
Listen, we're back.
Dude,
That was all 32 NFL that said that the Giants might be. That wasn't Arabia.
of course I would.
Right?
Arabia would
Yeah.
never.
At least for me, editing purposes, that was all 32 NFL.
Dude.
But no, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Like, you know, the Cowboys, there's just Dak, to your point, he's a punching bag. It's easy to make fun of him with some of the playoff mishaps that he's had, disappearing in big moments. But like I said, 76-46 as a starter, dude, he wins when he plays in the regular season. George, let you talk about them. I don't know what he is in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, this team is obviously going to need him. They had 6 rushing touchdowns last year, which, like, I can't even begin to comprehend that you can score that few of rushing touchdowns in an NFL season. It just goes to show that that is their offensive style. It needs to be flashy. It needs to be on the outside. Dak Prescott for comeback player of the year not just scares me, Nick. It scares the shit out of me for my Daniel Jones to win comeback player of the year, just because of the weapons differences night and day. I mean, Jerry Jones has proven it this entire training camp. He is the most popular person in the NFL. Like, I don't see, maybe it's Patrick Mahomes and then him, but Jerry Jones has full control of the narrative, the media, this whole, running Micah Parsons around trying to do deals with just him and not the agent, and the documentary that just came out that I'm excited to go home and watch. Like Nick told me about it before this. It's going to further my Jerry Jones glazing that I'm doing right now, but it's the truth. Like, I mean, this guy has made it all about him forever. So a team that we might consider just being middle of the road and trash is going to be talked about week in and week out once again, because that's the way that he likes it. I also found this to be hilarious. Matt Eberflus going to be the defensive coordinator, right? And it's like, it's amazing because we always talk about the Batman and the Robin thing. And I know this analogy might not fully make sense, but it's tough to be Robin when Alfred isn't paying Batman, and he needs that to happen. And Matt Eberflus, the fucking punching bag of the century, goes on Hard Knocks, looks like a loser, now is going to Dallas and can't even get the best player on their defense signed. Yeah. It's got to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw recently, Jerry Jones was talking to Michael Irvin and was like, Mike, can you go grab Micah, come over here and mediate between us and be kind of like the middleman between Jerry and Micah. And of course, Mike is all Cowboys down, very loyal to the organization, and I respect it, even though I know if he wasn't drafted there, he wouldn't care about the Cowboys either, but that's a whole different story.
Big fact.
And I'm like, well, you're asking Mike to do what Micah's agent has been trying to do. Like, you have it's called his agent. So I will always be 10 toes, and Jerry Jones is the Cowboys' weakest link. I don't care what's happening on the field. If they scored 2 rushing touchdowns, and Jerry's looking around in his division and seeing the Eagles and the Commanders, 2 of the most rushingest teams in the NFL, and he has the weakest, running back room in the division. It's just,
Yeah.
But good for the Cowboys. I hope they keep Jerry. Arabia hopes that they keep Jerry.
Yeah.
Arabia, have you seen the new Cowboys documentary?
I have not. I've been trying to keep up with Bill's Hard Knocks, which has been really, really amazing. I've been really loving that.
I'll tell you this much without spoiling. Michael Irvin is even wilder than I've come to know and hear the stories. And also, when you watch that documentary, you'll understand why he's ride or die for Jerry Jones.
Oh, Jerry's probably pulled him out of...
Bro. And what's dope about Mike is there's one part that's really funny, and Arabia calls into It Is What It Is all the time with Mason Cam. And Cam always pokes the bear yo, tell me about the White House, this infamous party house that they had. They show all the players. This is my favorite scene of the whole doc. It's they go to Eric Williams, the lineman. He goes, you're going to need to talk to someone else. They go to Troy Aikman. You'll need to talk to someone else. They go to Emmitt Smith. Michael Irvin's like, how much time y'all got? Shuffle up and play, baby. And he just started going in. He described it like, bro, it was great. And obviously Arabia and I, we've heard the stories, and people that listen to It Is What It Is, they've heard the stories that he said. But it was just funny because there's like 8 different players. Even Jimmy Johnson's like, I wasn't the big fan of what they were doing there. And Michael's like, yeah, so all the players, we pulled in our money and we were just, it was crazy, bro. It was crazy. Shout out to the playmaker, man. It really made me understand why he rides for the Cowboys the way he does. It really does.
And I do think that is what takes place with Jerry Jones behind closed doors, where he's like, hey, Dak Prescott did this, right? He has allowed me to make him the star in Texas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? CeeDee Lamb, same thing. Micah Parsons, you're going to need to play by my rules, and I will eventually make you, worth 3 times the amount that you should be worth after your playing career is over. Maybe that's the deal.
Yeah, I've also seen like that whole sentiment be a crutch for a specific UFL player. I won't say his name because I just hate the negative media that's around it already. But there's a UFL player who was a Cowboy who got in trouble when he was in the NFL as a Cowboy and got out of it. Like there was an unaliving and everything, and he got out of it. Leaves the league, doesn't make it. He's in the UFL now. Once again, there's an unaliving, and he doesn't have that same NFL Jerry Jones support, and it's been harder for him to climb out of it. And I can totally see Jerry Jones being like the guy who the guys can lean on as far as support. So I can see why they love him.
Yeah, that it's very, very well put. I was a big fan of it. Like halfway through it, I'm like, damn, am I developing a soft spot for the Cowboys? I was like, nah, fuck that. Fuck that. We ain't doing all that. Let's not get crazy. Never. We're back, baby. We're back.
Yeah.
All right, let's end with the Super Bowl champs, rightfully so, Philadelphia Eagles. Win total of 11.5. Arabia, they're minus 150 to win the division, meaning $150 wins you 100 for those new to the betting space. NFC plus 300. Super Bowl, they're the favorite to win the Super Bowl based on NFC odds, tied with the Ravens at plus 675. I will start by saying 8-1 in one-score games. They play 6 playoff teams last year that made the playoffs. This year, they're playing 11. Second luckiest team with injury luck. In the Super Bowl, they had no starters missing from week 1. And even so, like throughout the regular season, Hurts missed a game, or maybe this receiver missed a game, but it wasn't like nothing season long or crazy, right? Yep. We've talked about it, how like last year was the Niners that happened to. The year before it was Baltimore. The year before that it was Baltimore again. Like what the fuck did they do to deserve that?
Yep.
Then it makes you appreciate Harbaugh and Lamar, that they were playoff teams during those spans, right? But back to Philly, there hasn't been a repeat winner in this division in a very, very long time. I personally think that the defense is the backbone of this team. With Vic Fangio, he's an elite defensive coordinator. Their defense don't give up big plays, so they're like bend but don't break. Mm-hmm. And then in the red zone, they get really, really stingy. Arabia, I got to be honest. Find me a weakness on the Eagles if you had to find one.
Well, I'll start with I don't see any weaknesses in any of their starters. They're 11 on offense and they're 11 on defense, special teams, coaches. I don't see it. We can talk about core depth because on every team, core depth is about 40 to 50% of the team. You got to know who's going to step in. God forbid there are any injuries or suspensions or whatever, right? So there is a cornerback 2 question with Ringo. And I think fans and the organization has seen that Ringo is just kind of trending in the wrong direction. On Monday, a couple of days ago, he got reps with the second and third teams at training camp, but had no first team reps for the first time. First team was Cooper DeJean, one half of the Amazing Whites. The exciting whites, and the other reps went with like Jackson and things like that. And so yesterday it was more of the same. They had Cooper DeJean on the outside of their base defense, but Ringo, I think, is proving to not really be part of the conversation as far as starters anymore. And that's okay because again, that starting defense is fine. The Packers might be the youngest team in the NFL, but the Eagles have the youngest defense. They're young and they're fresh. Another observation is at edge. So it's reported that Azeez Ojulari, who was the Eagles' most splashiest, I guess, signing in this offseason, they were kind of chill in that regard. He's also trending in the right direction. Right now, Josh Uche is the third edge behind Nolan Smith and Hunt. So there's just some things happening at edge as far as core depth and as far as, CB2. That's about it. God forbid the starters aren't able to come in. You're looking at maybe some second or third string questions, but name a team that doesn't have that. I mean, if we're talking about weakness down to the second and third string of a position, I mean, I think they're in great shape. And like you said, Vic Fangio is running a defense that, granted, could be difficult for some to pick up. I mean, heavy zone, almost no cover two, no blitzing. On third down, he's in cover 6, almost no cover 2. But I think the fact that it's a young defense that all around is just really complete. I can't name any starting or even maybe second string weaknesses at all. You got to go to that third string.
Yeah, and one other thing too that I really love what Philly does, George, and I saw how this is how Arabia, the Giants fell apart after that second Super Bowl that they won with Eli. Instead of building on a strength, they tried to take a running back, they tried to take a receiver, they tried to take a corner, they took a line. It's like, bro, build on your fucking strength. How about that? Right. You know what Philly did? First of their 5 picks on defense. 3 of the next 4 on O-line. It's like, bro, listen, our O-line is top 5. Our D-line is top 5. Oh, Jahad Campbell? You're just chilling there in the first round? Bet. Yeah, bring him in. Another guy from the SEC. And this is why Baltimore is always good. This is why Philly's always good. This is why New England used to be good. Yep. It's you build on your strengths. And, all right, my D-line is stacked if you're the Giants. It was already good. Mm-hmm. Abdul Carter's there? Bet. So we're going back to the glory days. I had to turn this into the Giants. It's how we're back, right? But with the Eagles, the last thing, this is I think very telling. And Arabia, George has completely swung me on Jalen Hurts being the MVP this year. It's just the narratives, the talent, the weirdly enough, the revenge tour despite winning a Super Bowl. Yeah. Right? We don't get that
hate was put on him at the end of the season. They're like, oh, he won a Super Bowl, but he still sucks in the regular season.
Yeah. So this is going to be the 5th year in a row he has a new coordinator. But he's been successful with these new coordinators anyway. And this is the first time that they're promoting from within the staff. Yeah. So, the verbiage is the same. It's not like they're bringing in some random guy from a different team. It's like, no, this isn't the same umbrella. So in the past, this would be a crutch. Right. But to me, it's like Hurts has done this before.
I have to ask the question now that, you kind of presented it in the way that Jalen Hurts himself has been going through all these different offense coordinators. I was going to say as one of my notes, because, the team's stacked. They're going to do what they're going to do. I'm a huge fan of the Eagles this year. Best running back in the league, best offensive line in the league. That's all you need to tell me. But I was going to say, remember the name Kevin Patullo. You've never heard it until now. He's a new offensive coordinator for the Eagles. Embarrassment of riches. Okay. Is it Jalen Hurts' coaching tree or is it Nick Sirianni's coaching tree in 2 years when Patullo ends up getting a head coaching job because he had unlimited options? So I just need to know whose coaching tree is it? Because right now you got Gannon, you got Steichen, you got Kellen Moore. You're going to have Patullo, Vic Fangio if he ever leaves. I guess that can't necessarily fall under Hurts. Yeah. But you get what I'm saying here. Nick Sirianni is starting his own coaching trees.
Arabia, how do you feel about that one? Is it Hurts or is it the coach?
Well, Hurts has actually had 12 different play callers in 10 years if you date back to college. Oh, yeah. That's true. So, yeah, it's less than ideal for any quarterback. But the last time that I feel like he played piss poor with a play caller was when Nick Sirianni was play calling that first half. And then after that first half of the season, Shane Steichen took over, and then, he kind of went up from there. But otherwise, he's adjusted super well. The thing that I will say, there's the Arabia part of me that.
This is my favorite part of the show, by the way. I like the split personalities. You know why? Because I'll be honest, Arabia, I kind of lost a little bit of my fandom with the Giants because I was tired of watching 17 points a game and us winning 4 games a year, right? A little. But now that I'm back, you're going to be getting the Nick Deus Giants fan, or you're going to get the Nick Deus the analyst. So I'm loving this, and I'm stealing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a split personality, but Arabia really appreciates Jalen Hurts, the man, because I was covering the Super Bowl. I'm going to just tell this really quick story. I was covering the Super Bowl. I'm in New Orleans, and of course they have media days. So every day at the hotel, you can either choose to go cover the Eagles or you choose to go cover the Chiefs. They're usually around the same time, so you can't do both. So during the Super Bowl, the days leading up to the Super Bowl, I went to go cover the Eagles. So, I go to Saquon's table, and it's just full of media, and I go to Reed Blankenship and Mailata and just all these different people. So I go to Jalen Hurts. Of course, his is full of media, and you got to get in there or you're not going to ask your question. You got to be aggressive. No one's going to just stop and wait for you. So I'm trying to get in there with my questions. Huge news outlets are there. I'm literal me, Jalen Hurts specifically takes the time to stop everyone so that I can answer a question. Like, he looks at me, everyone's asking questions, and he's like, "What do you have?" And I was like, "Oh, shoot, yeah." And then ask him my question. He made sure I didn't have any other follow-up questions, and then he let everyone else. And he has an all-woman management team. He's very intentional about women in his space, and I think Black women in his space. So Arabia appreciates him in that regard, which is why it hurts that all 32. Which is why it hurts that all 32 has to bring up the fact that, yes, he had the number 6 best offensive line as far as pass block win rate. But he had the second most pressures in the NFL. It wasn't because of the offensive line. It was because he held onto the ball for too long, 3.1 seconds, which was the longest in the NFL. So I think if he is going to go on this revenge tour, I think if he is going to try to get MVP, there are some technical things. He has to go through his progressions and make decisions quicker, get the ball out of his hands quicker. He was dead last in EPA per attempt, last in success rate, and bottom 5 in sack rate and yards per attempt. So as much as I can appreciate Jalen Hurts, the guy, and what he's trying to do this year, this offseason, he has to have bettered himself technically in order to get there.
Man, first of all, I love that story so much. That's super dope.
Is sick.
Real quick, one of my buddies, Jerome, is a big Eagles fan. He ran into Jalen Hurts prior to last season, and he had a different interaction with Jalen. Mind you, he's an Eagle fan. He's like, "Yo, Jalen, I'm going to need more touchdowns than quotes." Because, he was like, he always had like crazy Instagram captions and quotes and all that. He's like, "I'm going to need some more touchdowns than quotes, bro. Like, get it fucking together." And then he goes on to win the Super Bowl. I'm sure his interaction with Arabia was much more pleasant.
Absolutely.
But it was funny because he has the eagle tattoo. So he was like down, but he was like, "Yeah, bro, he's just he's a great interview." But he's like, "I need more touchdowns." So I was like, "Yeah, I get it." But yeah, Hurts, the last thing on the Eagles, right? And to George's point, like, one thing that has helped me in the betting space, Arabia, is like, let's get cute elsewhere. And like, let's just take Philly to win the division, right? Just the talent alone. Let's take Kansas City to win the division. Let's get cute in the NFC North or in the AFC style. Like, sometimes it's pretty obvious, right? Like last year it was Detroit in the NFC North, even though it got crazy, last week. But for the most part, let's not get cute. And I just think that they're going to lean more on the passing game this year in the regular season, if I had to give my analysis, than they did last year with Barkley. So I got them going 11-6. One of the reasons why, like I mentioned, their record in one-score games was impeccable at 8-1. They were a team that won 13 games last year. If they regress just a little bit, about 11 wins. I think 11-6. Let's just get healthy.
Yep.
All right, nothing crazy going on. So my division is like this: 11-6 Eagles, 8-9 Cowboys, 8-9 with an asterisk, Dart starts, and then I got the Commanders at 7-10.
Nice. I got the Eagles at 10-7, which after thinking more about it, I probably should bump that number up, but I just figured that this division is going to be a lot more competitive top to bottom, and we're going to get a more middle of the pack vibe from everybody. So Eagles 10-7, Cowboys 9-8, Commanders 8-9, Giants 6-11.
Arabia, what do you got for the NFC East?
I'll say Eagles 12-5. I'll say Commanders 9-8. I'll say Cowboys 8-9, and I'll say Giants 7 and what's the rest? 7 and whatever.
And 10.
Equals 7 and 10.
All right. Listen, from 4 wins last year to 7,
Hey,
it's promising.
you're moving up. You're moving up.
We're moving up.
The chart's got the up arrow.